All right. Cheers and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Kit. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that ring bell notification. That way, all you lovely, beautiful people are made aware we upload new content, you guessed it, upon our YouTube channel. And today, we have ourselves a fun video to check out. It is titled Battle of Heraclea, the Pyrrhic Wars, or Pyrrhic Wars documentary by Kings and Generals. So, once again, we're visiting that overhyped up guy, Pyrrhus, who, well, the only way he wins is by smashing the buttons and raging as his army constantly gets decimated, yet he calls it a victory. And it looks like now this is where we witness him finally engaging the glorious Roman Republic. So, without further ado, since I am in charge of the ones and twos, let's get ready to play this video in a 3, a 2, and an uno. Let's enjoy it.
In the aftermath of Alexander's conquests, a war for control of his vast empire raged between his successors. Pyrrhus of Epirus was a rising star in this era, and in our previous video we discussed his early life and conquests. Throughout the early 3rd century BC, he gradually increased both his military power and his kingdom's size, and soon he would be called to pursue conquests further afar as his ambitions grew ever greater. Welcome to our second video on Pyrrhus and the beginning of his Italian campaigns.
Yes.
This video is sponsored by Imperator Rome, the newest historical grand strategy game from Paradox Interactive. Build a glorious empire out of blood and marble. Take the reins of power over any of hundreds of ancient nations, including Rome and Carthage, as you slowly expand to dominate the classical Mediterranean, Europe, and India. Expand trade, build roads, and command armies on the most detailed map ever made for a Paradox game. But keep an eye on your generals and governors. Some of them will increase their own power and plunge your land into civil war. Enjoy the panoply and majesty of the world of Caesar and Hannibal in Imperator Rome, coming April 25th.
Sounds like a fun game.
You can support our channel by buying the game via the link in the description. Demetrius's theft of his wife and the island of Corcyra embittered Pyrrhus, and when he discovered his foe was seriously ill in the wake of the Epirot victory over Pantaucus, he sent an invading army into Macedonia in late 289. He was initially only attempting to plunder.
You know, that city Byzantium looks like a good city, but, I think it deserves a name change. I don't know what, though. What should we name it?
The countryside, but without Demetrius to lead the defense, he met almost no resistance, reaching Aegae before he was repelled. When Demetrius had recovered, he gathered a huge army and intended to reclaim his father's old Asiatic possessions, so made peace with Pyrrhus. Confronted by Demetrius's huge Macedonian army, the other kings, Ptolemy, Seleucus, and Lysimachus, formed an alliance in order to cut their old Antigonid foe down to size for a second time. The alliance sent embassies and letters to Pyrrhus in Epirus, advising him of the best time to attack when Demetrius was occupied with the other kings. Pyrrhus may have been hesitant, but to remain neutral would have resulted in no gain.
Yeah.
If Demetrius gained victory, he could overwhelm Epirus at any point. And if the allies won and Pyrrhus was not part of the alliance, he would reap none of the spoils.
Okay, a lot of backstabbing here. But what would you expect? Now, the ancient Romans would never do that. The Romans always fought with honor.
Most importantly, this might give him an opportunity to reconquer part of or all of Macedonia, and so he joined the alliance. In 288 BC, the coalition attacked. Ptolemy sailed from Egypt in the south to attack Demetrius with a huge fleet of ships, while Lysimachus thrust into Upper Macedonia from his lands in Thrace. In response, Demetrius moved northeast with his large army to confront Lysimachus, and at this point Pyrrhus invaded from the south almost completely unopposed. Back to the north, Lysimachus was defeated in battle by Demetrius, but his army was angry that their commander had allowed Pyrrhus to plunder their lands, and unrest began to spread. After Demetrius marched against Pyrrhus himself, the Epirot king sent agents into the enemy camp to spread propaganda and create chaos. Small groups of Macedonians, who supposedly had begun to admire Pyrrhus and his increasingly favourable reputation, defected, followed by the entire army. Demetrius escaped to the coast.
Dude!
Though Pyrrhus had won a great victory and gained Macedonia for himself, Lysimachus now marched into the kingdom and proclaimed that the victory had been a joint effort. Pyrrhus, not confident in the loyalty of the fickle Macedonians, left the kingdom to Lysimachus and retreated to Epirus. Over the next few years, Demetrius I finally perished, and his holdings were inherited by his son, Antigonus Gonatus. Lysimachus attempted to isolate Pyrrhus, but in 282 he was attacked by Seleucus. At the Battle of Corupedium, Lysimachus was defeated and killed, while Seleucus was murdered shortly after.
Hey, can we not try and kill each other? This is what's causing a lot of civil wars, you know.
His murderer, Ptolemy the Thunderbolt, wasted no time after his treacherous act and was declared king by the Macedonian army. The only other claimant to the throne of Macedon was Pyrrhus, but he would soon decide on another course of action to the west. Meanwhile, on the Italian peninsula, the southward expansion of a new
Hey, what's going on in Italy?
power, Rome, was threatening the independent Greek colonies in Magna Graecia.
Oh, how dare they!
One of these cities, Tarentum, a colony built by the Spartans, was the most powerful, and had provoked the Romans by attacking their ships and humiliating their envoys.
Well, yeah, okay, well, they had it coming. That's all. Rome did nothing wrong.
Now worried about Rome, the Tarentines, who governed democratically at this point, voted to send an embassy to Epirus asking for assistance in 281 BC. Pyrrhus agreed, but demanded that Tarentum must pay the costs of the war and give him supreme command of the allied forces. To further pressure his western rival into going to Italy so that he could concentrate on the east, Ptolemy the Thunderbolt of Macedon offered Pyrrhus 5,000 more phalangites for the campaign. In early 280 BC, Tarentum sent its fleet to transport Pyrrhus's army to Italy. The force which embarked in Epirus consisted of 20,000 men, mostly Macedonian and Epirot Sarissa pikemen, and possibly some mercenaries, 3,000 cavalry, 2,000 archers, 500 slingers, and 20 war elephants.
So altogether, about 25,520 units altogether. Okay, well, not a big old army, but it's decent enough.
After landing, the king began to militarize Tarentum and deal with any political enemies there, while the Romans did the same in the cities under their control. Preparing for the coming conflict, consul Publius Valerius Levinus was given command of 4 legions and was ordered to march directly against Tarentum.
Come on!
They wanted to force Pyrrhus into battle before his Greek allies arrived, and raided the countryside while pushing south. In
Hey, you gotta get those colonies in line, Rome.
mid-280 BC, their plan succeeded, and, learning that the Romans were bearing down on the Greek city of Heraclea, Pyrrhus marched to meet his new foe for the first time. The invading Roman army consisted of 4 Roman and 4 allied legions, and was drawn up in the traditional manipular fashion. Young Hastati manned the front ranks, more experienced Principes filled in behind them, and veteran Triarii stood in reserve. In total, the Romans had around 40,000 legionnaires.
Whoa!
In addition, 2,400 Roman and allied cavalry were placed on the wings. They were commanded by Consul Levinus. Meanwhile, Pyrrhus's initial force of 25,500 infantry had been supplemented by thousands of Magna Graecian infantry, mercenaries,
Traitors, all of them! How dare you betray Italia!
and a few thousand cavalry. In total, the Greek army may have numbered around 31,000 infantry, including his 20,000 heavy phalangites and a few thousand local allies. 5,500 missile troops, including 1,000 Rhodian slingers and Thracian javelinmen, formed Pyrrhus's skirmishing force, while his 4,000 cavalry were drawn from the expert horsemen of Thessaly in Greece, who were famous for their ability to move in a diamond-shaped formation, and were armed with the Ziston, a 12-foot-long two-handed spear, and some light javelins, being able to harass or charge with equal skill. In reserve were the Epirot king's 20 war elephants. In contrast to the typically aggressive Roman plan, Pyrrhus wished to delay any battle for as long as possible until his allies could rally their forces and join him. Shadowing the larger Roman force, he encamped on a plain outside the city near the left bank of the Siris River, hoping to protect the settlement on terrain suitable for his phalanx, while his enemy encamped on the other side of the river a little further upstream. When his army was resting, Pyrrhus and his friend Megacles went scouting to examine the enemy camp. Surprised at the organized nature of the supposedly barbarian camp, the Epirot—
Oh, excuse me. I take that to be of high offense. What do you mean, barbarian camp?
king stated forebodingly, "These don't look like barbarians to me.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see what they can do soon." In order to guard the riverbank,
Oh, yeah, he's going to say, oh, we'll see what they can do to... Well, you will see. Oh, you will see, buddy.
contingent of light infantry missile troops was sent towards it. This done, Pyrrhus turned to other concerns, thinking he had plenty of time in his strong defensive position. He was about to receive a nasty shock. After a few hours of preparation, Laevinus unexpectedly ordered the entire Roman army of over 40,000 legionnaires to cross the river. The small force of light infantry skirmishers that Pyrrhus had placed on the riverbank pelted the Roman vanguard with missiles and slowed them down a little, but the noise of an entire army crossing the river deafened them, and they were unable to hear what was coming. To their left, the Roman Equite cavalry, who had crossed the river further upstream, smashed into the flank of the defending missile units, who quickly retreated after suffering huge losses. The Roman velites were now coming across, and Pyrrhus, who could not afford to lose his river defense entirely before his infantry was ready, organized his phalanx before charging ahead of them with 3,000 of his best cavalry straight into the Roman light infantry vanguard. This slowed them down and gave the phalangites a chance to catch up. As they approached the battle line, the Roman hastati crossed the river. They were better armed and armoured than the velites, who pulled back behind the line and instead engaged the cavalry on the wings. In this melee, Pyrrhus was knocked off his horse and almost killed by an enemy, which prompted him to pull back. His friend Megacles now swapped armour with Pyrrhus and donned the king's unusually magnificent armour, riding back into the fray. The Romans were now in trouble. Despite Laevinus' bold crossing of the river, the wall of pikes was now fixed and began to slowly push the doggedly determined Romans with their backs to the river. They fought.
Everything's still in control. Everything is still in control.
Fought with tenacity, but had not found a way to hit the phalanx in its flank or rear. Gradually, the Roman army began to melt away under the pressure of the phalanx, but then everything turned. Megacles, armoured in the king's panoply, was slain by a legionary, and the helmet was paraded around the battle line, inspiring the Romans and demoralizing the Epirots, who all believed that their king was dead. At this point, the phalanx slowly began to waver, and the Romans pushed them back from the riverbank. The real Pyrrhus, understanding that this was a key moment in the battle, charged up and down his line in an attempt to inform his troops that he was not dead, shoring up their morale.
Somebody shoot him with an arrow!
At the same time, the 20 war elephants, which had until now been kept in reserve, were unleashed and hit both of the Roman flanks. While their infantry held firm, even against these monsters most of them had never seen before, the cavalry horses panicked and bolted. retreating through their own infantry and splitting the legion's formation.
No!
Even the legions lost their grit and began to run, while Pyrrhus commanded his Thessalian cavalry to chase the routing enemy along the shore and into the shallows of the river. By the end of the battle, 7,000 Romans had been killed and 2,000 captured, while the Epirites had suffered 4,000 casualties, including many of their senior veteran officers.
Well, good. At least some of Pyrrhus's armies was defeated. This doesn't count as a victory.
Though Pyrrhus had won his first major battle against Rome, it had been a difficult and grinding slogging match. He would soon learn that despite his own martial prowess, he had truly met his match.
Disregard that cracking noise. That does not count as a Roman defeat. That doesn't count.
Rome, dismissing Pyrrhus's offers of surrender terms, began recruiting a new army.
That's right.
And the Epirate king began to patch up his own, ready for the next battle, which was soon to come. We have recorded a podcast explaining the reasons why the Hellenistic kingdoms were so eager to fight each other.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to clarify just a few things. First of all, number one, that does not count as a defeat. Rome still had some survivors, and Rome isn't surrendering to some jagoff dude who thinks he knows better. Because guess what? He's in our house, okay? He's in a true Roman house. So listen to me, my true Romans. Eat some true Roman bread. Drink some true Roman wine. Make love to your true Roman wife. The fight isn't over yet. I didn't hear no bell. Ding, ding. Bring it on, Pierce. We're ready. Left hook, right hook. Uppercut. Knee to the face. We're ready. Come on. Bring it on. Rome ain't backing down. Rome ain't backing down. We're going to win. Come to our house. Hold on. Of all places you want to show up, you want to show up in front of our house? I don't think so. But folks, listen, please support Kings and Generals. Follow them as a channel. And this does not count as a defeat. I refuse to acknowledge it. We will win. We will win the day. I promise you. Until then, if you like this series and want to check out more stuff of ancient Rome or the ancient Greeks or any other ancient empire, please give us your feedback and type in the comment section below. We'd love to hear back from you.